Hi, everyone. Many people believe the United States of America is a nation of plenty or a land of excess, and in many regards, this is a true statement. One example of excessiveness would be the amount of waste or trash that is produced by both domestic households and commercial businesses. For example, in 2010, the EPA, the Environmental Protection Agency, listed that the United States produced nearly 250 million tons of solid waste. About 35 million tons of this is made up of food. Now, while not all this is edible and a lot of it is trash, most of that waste can be avoided. And what cannot be avoided for most of that, it can be used for other aspects like agriculture, livestock, and things of that nature. Now, this is a blatant irresponsibility, and it's even a greater tragedy because 1 in 6 Americans has to deal with hunger, and it is a serious problem. Now, here are some stats that you may be aware of. You may not know some of this. There are 50 million Americans that do not have a consistent, dependable way to access enough food to survive. Last year, according to Hunger in America research done by Feeding America organization, 6 million households received emergency food from local pantries. 6 million households. 57.2% of all households receive benefits from one of the 3 major federal nutrition programs. The former food stamp program that's now just known as the acronym SNAP, WIC, and the school lunch program are the 3 programs. It is a common misconception that this problem is confined to small pockets of society or concentrated in densely populated urban areas. The real facts are that rural counties are the ones with the highest percentage of poverty. Many people are unaware of how big of an issue this is and how close it hits home. For instance, it affects all of us on a state level, city level, and even a community level. Now, the state we live in, Florida, is the 6th highest rating for food insufficiency. This takes into account how people's access to food due to a lack of finances or just resources in the area. Florida is 6th in the country for having the highest. While many different people are affected by this, some of the ones that suffer the most devastating effects are children. And malnutrition affects not only physical development of children, but both cognitive and behavioral development as well. It's also well known that children who suffer from hunger do not perform as well as other students in school. For instance, if a child is distracted because he or she is hungry, she is more likely to be irritable, less likely to pay attention, and more likely to be disruptive. None of that leads to positive. Now, the number of children without sufficient food is unacceptable. 62% of America's teachers regularly see kids come to school hungry, according to NoKidHungry.org. While the government does what it can to aid these children, because nearly half of the recipients of food stamps are children, it's not enough. We need more awareness from a broader group of people. This is a fight that we can win. And there are many different ways to contribute to this fight. One of the leading organizations in terms of financial donation is the Feeding America organization. It has a food network that extends throughout the country through soup kitchens and food pantries. You can donate or volunteer your time at any of these local places. There's one nearby wherever you're at. They also have a very good website. It is feedingamerica.org that you can access. It's very easy to navigate. You can pledge money if you have the resources to do that, or you can just find out how to get more involved. They do plan events for these kinds of things. Another organization that's very valuable in this fight against hunger in America is NoKidHungry.org, and they have a different approach. Not so much the financial part, but more of ways to get involved and do other things. They have a program called Cooking Matters, where they teach under low-income families and families with little resources how to extend what they do have and make things last, and teach them nutritional facts that help them in the fight against hunger. They also team up with Food Network, and they have a documentary called Hunger Hits Home. And this is important because it shows how close this really is to all of us. That, like I said, there are 1 in 6 Americans. There are 6 people in this room. So by statistics, 1 of us is going hungry. This is not acceptable. One simple way that NoKidHungry.org also helps, and one way you can get involved is it will allow you to donate your Facebook status to No Kid Hungry for a day. You can change your status to that. These are programs that help, but what the biggest ally we have in trying to feed the people who need food is the government. The government provides, on the legislation side, the government has passed 2 very important things. The Healthy, Hunger-Free Kids Act that will provide $4.5 billion over the next 10 years to children who cannot feed themselves. And also passing the Farm Bill while without taking the cuts that would have gone to devastate the agriculture and the livestock community. These are monumental steps in feeding America. But most importantly, which brings me back to the waste, a program like the EPA, who is doing something in a different direction, yet still feeding people who need food. Their Waste Not, Want Not program is a program that involves restaurants, commercial food producers, and food recovery agencies, and it allows them to work together to cut down waste and maximize the output and make things more accessible to people who cannot regularly access them. An entire guide to this program is available online at www.epa.gov. It's a very enlightening website, and it will teach you a lot about things you may not know in terms of what you do personally or what you can do to contribute to the cause. As you can see, cutting down on food waste is just one of the many different ways that you can affect a very important subject. By doing something else, you can help somebody who needs something to eat. And in this country, a country of abundance, it is important that every member of this country has enough food to eat. The fight to end hunger in America is a fight we can and must win. And these are just a few ways to contribute. Thank you. And don't forget to change your Facebook setting.